It's a real pleasure and an honor to meet you and have you here to have an opportunity to have a few words with. I'd just like to share a little bit about the company and about myself, if I might. I grew up on a farm in northeast Missouri and grew up during the Depression period in the 30s. I was born in 1927. And I got out of high school, went into the service, and was always wondering what I could do, what I needed to do with my life. I certainly was not the most studious person in the world. When I went to school, I didn't really try that hard. But I worked hard. I was a hard worker. But I was always looking for a better way. Always trying to figure out something better than what I'd had. I grew up at a time when there was not much money. Most people didn't have any money, hardly at all. But when I graduated and I got into the service at the end of World War II, I went to China and did my duty there and come home and got into the construction business. And I made a living, but I knew there was no real future in the construction business. Construction's for young men. And I knew one day I wouldn't be. And when I got in, I was, of course, young. And it was great. I enjoyed it. But all the time, I was looking for something different. I would dare say probably I'm speaking about some of you in this place. One day I was speaking to a friend of mine, or actually an acquaintance, and I said, you know, I really would like to change my life. He said, well, why don't you do it? I said, I don't know what to do. I don't know, I don't have idea what to do. He said, well, I can tell you. Why don't you do what I do? And I didn't know what he did. But I asked him, and he said, I'm a salesman. And that's the thing I want to just speak to you about today. Of all of the things there is in the world, a salesperson has the greatest authority. They have tremendous influence. It's tremendous. I didn't know that. It never occurred to me that sales was so powerful. So I began to look into it. I didn't think I could sell anything, you know. I didn't think that was something I could do. But I decided I was going to try it. Because this guy that talked to me about this, he always drove a nice car, he always looked good, and he had a nice home. And really, I never did see him do anything. I just thought he was just riding around his car, but he said, I work all the time. So it was so different than anything I'd done. I grew up on a farm and where you had to work hard and work in the dirt. I don't have anything wrong, I don't have anything against the dirt, but this was just a different way of life. And I just want to say to you today, if you can get it, just get it in your head, that's good. But it will not work till you get it in your heart that this is the greatest business in the world. Now, selling some things is not very good. You know, selling shoes is okay, nothing wrong with it, but I just didn't want to sell shoes. Selling clothing, it's good, But that wasn't for me. I said, I don't want to do that. I don't want to sell automobiles. That's okay. But that's not what I want to do. I want to do something different. And the man said to me that was talking to me, if you're going to make money, real money in sales, you got to sell money. And that's what we do. We sell money. We sell people on the idea that if you put in a certain amount of money today, 30 years later, 35 years later, you're going to have X. That's what because we go off the past performance. So folks, I got into this business. Now I want you to understand, I'd been in construction. I'd been in management of construction. And so many things went wrong in that. You'd go to work and it'd start raining. You had to go home. You go to work and your machine broke down. Had to go home because you had to get it fixed. And then sometimes when you got the job done, you found out you took it too cheap and you went broke. So there was always something wrong. And it is that way with most things. But when I got into the business of selling, oh my goodness, I was my own boss. I worked as much as I wanted to do, and I like to work. It so changed my life that it was overwhelming. I was making as much money as the local doctor and the local lawyer in my area. You know, that put me in a class. They'd been in school all their life. You know, it takes forever to become a doctor. It takes forever to become a lawyer. And I was in school just a few days like you are. And all of a sudden I was making as much money as the doctor and the lawyer in the community. Now that just really almost overwhelmed me. The more I worked, the more money I made. It's not always that way. You know, I used to work for Caterpillar Tractor, and I was working beside a man. I'd been there 3 months, and he'd been there 29 years, and we was making the same money. You know, it doesn't seem right, but that's the way it was. Well, now all of a sudden, I'm into sales. I've got control of everything. Rain didn't stop me. The snow didn't stop me. Nothing stopped you. All you have to do is go see the people. But I want to say to you this. If you're not going to see people, folks, don't get in this business, because you will get paid what you're worth. If you see the people, you're gonna make a great living. If you see a lot of people, you're going to make a lot of money. You can either make a living, but you know you've been making a living all your life. So you didn't come here to make a living. You come here to make some money. And so that's what we're about. We are about making money. I want to just share a little bit with you about that. My first year I was in this business, that was 1962. I made $34,000. Now, you could buy a new car for $3,000. You could buy a 3-bedroom home for $18,000 in 1962. You could buy a full-size, fully equipped car for $3,000 in 1962. And I made $34,000. I could not believe that. The second year I was in the business, I made $50,000. It was so tremendous. It scared me. I said, how does a guy do this? I worked hard in construction. I worked many hours. There was weeks in the busy season, the construction season, I'd work 90 hours a week. That's a lot of hours. Of course, naturally, we didn't do that year round because we knew we just had a few weeks to do it. But I worked. So I was used to work, but I never made that kind of money. Now all of a sudden, the third year I was in the business, I made $72,000, and the fourth year I made $100,000. This was in the 60s. It changed my life completely. So I said, I'm going to start a company of my own and help a lot of people make a lot of money. Now, we have a lot of people that's made lots of money. You can change your life here, but you got to see the people. Now, a lot of people don't like to work like that. But here's the thing I'm going to give you. And take this home with you, and you will become very successful. Have a dinner every week and see 10 people every day. And say this to the people when you see them. Are you saving all the money you need to be saving to be where you'd like to be when you can't work anymore? That's a question. You ask everybody that question. And of course, naturally, almost every one of them is going to say no. But if it isn't every one, 9 out of 10 certainly will. Then the next question, then how would you give me an hour to show you something that will fix that? If you see 10 people every day and ask that question, you're going to have 2 sales a day, and you will make your 4th year in the business $100,000 at least. I guarantee it. It will work. It always works. There's not any magic about this. It's the greatest business in the world. It's a life changer. And the people that's around you will help you. Hire people, bring people on, get into management, and you can make a lot of money. We've had people making over $400,000 a year, and you can make whatever you want to make. But here's the thing. If you're not willing to go to work, you see, if you have a favorite TV show that you got to watch, don't get in this business. If you have, and you are destined in your own mind to play a lot of golf, don't get in this business. But if you want to change your life and make a lot of money, you can do it. You actually absolutely have the opportunity. It changed my life. And we've changed hundreds, we've changed thousands of people's lives. Then let's talk just a minute about the product. The Balance program is unlike anything that's ever been designed. It's the greatest program that's ever been designed. There has not ever been anything like it ever put on the market. The Balance program. When you go out in the street, you are number one. There isn't any question about that. We have thousands upon thousands of clients that have all the money they need because of the Balance program. We don't hurt people. You don't have to be worried about people being upset with you. We don't have a lot of upset people. We don't have any upset people that I know of because we make them money. They always make money. So when you get in this, first thing you do is you got to get sold on it. If you're not sold on the product, don't sell it. But if you're sold on the product will sell itself. But you got to tell the people. You got to tell people every day. You got to have sales every day. You got to have a selling presentation every day. If you have one selling presentation a week, You may not get a sale because you're not going to sell everybody. But if you have 3 or 4 presentations a week, you're going to sell somebody. But you're going to just make a living. But if you have 10 selling appointments a week, you're going to make a lot of money. There isn't any question about that. It's a real honor and a real pleasure to have you. We certainly appreciate you being here. And let it be known you can change your life with this product if you see the people. But you have to see the people. You have to get up every day and you have to go to work. And if you do it and do what Tom is telling you here, everything's going to work and you're going to be, it'll blow your mind. But if you're a type of person that's not self-motivated and somebody has to tell you when to get up and tell you when to take a break and tell you when to work, this is not the job. You need to work for Caterpillar Tractor or John Deere or Ford Motor Company or somebody. So because they'll tell you everything you need to do. But if you're motivated, you will make a lot of money. I certainly thank you for giving me the opportunity to visit with you, and I wish you the very best because you got the control. You got the control in your hand. Thank you. Bless you.